Hello, I'm John Jannarone, editor-in-chief of TechEdge. Very happy to be here with Fortinet. We have this chief operating officer who is John Whittle. This is a really interesting cybersecurity company, a big leader in the space. Just reported very impressive numbers only last week. We're going to dive into all that and much more with John Whittle momentarily. But before we bring on the star of the show, I want to remind everyone that you can watch this directly here, of course, where it's going to be published on TechEdge. That's executivesedge.com. You can also look it up under the FTNT ticker on Bloomberg terminals and Yahoo. And if you've got any questions, please reach out to us at this email you see here, and we'll pass them along to the company for you. With that, let's show a brief video to give you an overview of the business.
For over 20 years, we've been a driving force in the evolution of cybersecurity and the convergence of networking and security. Trusted by more than 70% of the Fortune 100, nearly 70% of the Global 2000, and approaching 1 million customers around the world. Supported by a global network of over 100,000 active channel partners and a global workforce of almost 14,000 employees, committed to our culture of openness, teamwork, and innovation. Number one in security performance, number one in power efficiency, and number one in innovation with more patents than the nearest three competitors combined. More third-party validated solutions than any vendor, backed by one of the world's largest threat intelligence organizations and award-winning services. Committed to reaching net zero across our owned facilities worldwide by 2030. Dedicated to building trusted partnerships with government, nonprofit, and private organizations to improve cyber resilience for all while maintaining one of the world's largest training institutes. Find out what makes Fortinet one of the top cybersecurity companies in the world.
All right, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jarrett to introduce today's guest.
Thanks, John, and welcome John Whittle to the program.
Jarrett, thank you, and thank you, John. Appreciate being here.
Great, let's get right into it. John, if we could just start, you could take a step back and tell us a little bit more about Fortinet and how your global presence and team help secure over 500,000 organizations worldwide.
Jarrett, thanks for the question. Yeah, we are a global company. We have business throughout the Americas, EMEA, and APAC. As you said, we're securing over 500,000 customers worldwide. We have 14,000 talented employees worldwide. We have tens of thousands channel partners worldwide, and we also partner with the public sector, with the government, with cybersecurity agencies in various countries to protect our customers. And our focus, if you talk to anybody about Fortinet, I think they will stress Fortinet is the innovation leader in the cybersecurity industry. We're very focused on innovation and engineering, and we develop the best products. We have 55% of the deployed firewalls worldwide. We have the leading SD-WAN solution in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We have one of the fastest growing SASE cloud security solutions out there, and we have a very broad security operations solution. And so we're innovating fast to protect our customers in an environment where the threat is moving fast. It's absolutely critical that we innovate fast. And we don't just throw the product over the fence to the customers. We're joined at the hip with the customers on an ongoing basis. We have this visibility with these great solutions from the network to the cloud to the endpoint. And with the 55% of the firewalls, we've got great visibility to the threat landscape around the world. And so we have what we call our FortiGuard threat intelligence team looking at the threat landscape with that visibility. And so the threats are breaking real time every minute of every day. And so new threats are introduced into the wild. And so our FortiGuard threat intelligence is constantly monitoring with the visibility that we have to update our customers' solutions to protect against the latest breaking threats.
All right, fantastic. We can't wait to dive into all of that. Very important issues here. But you're just coming on the heels of announcing your fourth quarter and full year financial results. What do you think has been the most important driver for the big scene in these results?
Yeah, you're right. We've got great success. We just reported great results. We've got a lot of momentum, a lot of customer adoption. People are realizing that Fortinet is this innovation leader. I think there are at least three drivers that are driving Fortinet's success. The first two are challenges, and then the third is a solution. I just returned from Davos for the World Economic Forum, and there's a lot of discussion about the threat level taking a step level up in terms of the sophistication, the pervasiveness, and the potential downside of the threat. And so we're seeing nation states developing sophisticated threats at a very rapid pace. Threats are very pervasive. The number of hackers out there is increasing, but not only that, hackers are using AI to make their threats ubiquitous. And so the pervasiveness of threats is absolutely increasing. And then the downside is increasing as well, the damage that can be caused by these threats. People are still worried about loss of money, loss of intellectual property, but now countries are worried about damage to their critical infrastructure. There's potential damage to health of human beings. And so we're seeing that those factors really contribute to a demand for security solutions. The second driving factor is the complexity of organizations' networks continues to increase, and more functions are getting networked. Companies are continuing to move from on-prem to the cloud and maybe sometimes back to on-prem. It's a very dynamic situation in some of these companies' internal network organizations. And so what we're seeing is the vulnerability and the risk to those companies increase as they have this dynamic nature in their environments. So in the face of those two challenges, the good news is we at Fortinet feel like we can add a heck of a lot of value protecting these customers in this very risky environment, this increasing threat landscape and the increasingly complex environment. And we're going to do that by focusing on developing the best technology that's out there. And we've done that, and we've got that momentum. And so we're seeing increasing customer adoption by Fortinet. 10 of the 10 biggest banks in the world have kicked the tires on Fortinet solutions, compared us to competitors, and decided to go with Fortinet for their security solutions. So we're seeing a lot of momentum there. And when you see that adoption by some of the most sophisticated, most discerning customers in the world, a lot of other customers, future customers, feel some comfort by that. And so there's a little bit of a crowdsourcing. Future customers, of course, we want them to test the product, get comfortable themselves. But when you have 500,000 plus customers, many of them the most discerning customers in the world, really testing the product out, it gives a lot of credibility to the product.
Now, speaking of customers, customer trust is often seen as a key driver for long-term business success, probably more so in your industry. How do you think your recent performance reflects the trust that customers have in your brand?
100%. We are a security company after all. Trust is critical. We often say trust is our business, and our most valuable asset is our good reputation. And so we are very focused on building trust with customers, kind of going back to the old E.F. Hutton commercial, the old-fashioned way. We earn it. We want to keep our promises to protect and secure our customers. We want to be there for the customers when they need to rely on us. We want to be that reliable security partner to the customer. We never want to take advantage of the customer. We want to put the customer first in everything we do. And so that is built into the culture of Fortinet. And we're very proud that recently Forbes issued the most trusted companies in America in 2025. We were ranked number 7 overall in that list in terms of the most trusted companies in America. The next nearest cybersecurity company wasn't even in the top 50. So we're very proud of that recent development.
All right, great. Are there any specific markets or customer segments that you think significantly contributed to these results?
It's interesting. Cybersecurity is unlike some tech in that every organization needs it. From the biggest enterprises to service provider to the mid-market to small businesses, from healthcare to government organizations retail. And Fortinet technology protects all of those. And so all of those different segments are contributing to our growth. And the fact that we sell into the biggest enterprises and biggest government organizations means we're held to the highest security standards to have the most sophisticated products. And we use a common architecture throughout our products in terms of a common operating system, common ASIC chip. And so we really think that's a winning strategy because we have the standards that meet the biggest enterprises, but even the mid-sized businesses, the service providers, the small businesses, they reap the benefit of that enterprise-grade, high-level security.
Makes sense. Now, what role does innovation have in this continued success? And can you give us some key specific products or services that have contributed to it?
Innovation is our cornerstone core value. I think if you talk to anybody again about Fortinet, they will vouch for the fact we are an engineering-driven company. Our CEO, our CTO, our two founders are engineers. We have really led the way. Like I said, we have 55% of the deployed firewalls out there. The firewall solution has been a real leading solution for us. For SD-WAN, we're the absolute leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We're in the upper right corner of the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We've got one of the fastest growing SASE solutions, and then we have the broadest security operations solutions out there. So we have developed these great solutions, and we're continuing to develop solutions. The threat actors are developing new ways to get into organizations, and so it's our job to figure out, to keep ahead of them and protect organizations from those new threat vectors. So we're actively expanding the innovation that we have there. AI, we've been focused on AI for decades in terms of improving the defense for our customers. And if you look at our patent portfolio, we have over 1,300 issued patents. It's the most patents of any other cybersecurity company out there by 2x. And a subset of that, our AI-focused patents, we have approximately 500 issued and pending AI patents, which by far is the biggest AI cybersecurity patent portfolio that's out there.
Great. I guess before I hand over to my colleague, John, I'll just ask one more question. How do you plan to sustain and build on this growth moving forward?
We're really focused on three things. One, the team. We have a very strong culture, too. And then we have a winning strategy. And so the team, we're in the enviable position of continuing to hire engineers. We have thousands of engineers in the US and Canada already. There's a cybersecurity skills gap out there. And so the fact that we have engineering at scale and we're actively hiring and growing that team with additional talented engineers is a big competitive advantage for us, and we can add a lot of value to customers. And our team goes beyond our 14,000 employees worldwide. Like was mentioned, we have tens of thousands of active channel partners. We have partnerships with public agencies, with cybersecurity agencies around the world. So that teamwork is absolutely critical. And that goes to the culture. The culture, we focus on innovation. We've talked about openness, and openness in terms of this feedback loop between our customers and our engineers and our partners and our engineers and within our organization and amongst our employees. That feedback loop is absolutely critical because, like we talked about, the threat environment is moving fast. We got to keep up with it. So having the eyes and ears on the front lines and and fixing issues as they arise is really critical. Openness also connotates open and honest conduct. Back to what we were talking about around Fortinet's reputation being its biggest asset. We want to always be that ethical, highly professional organization. And then innovation is the cornerstone of our culture. And then finally, we want to absolutely continue on our winning strategy. Our strategy has been to continue to innovate. And you see that not only help out our customers and add value to customers, but expands our total addressable market. So we went from a firewall company to a firewall integrated with switches and access points company, to an SD-WAN company, to a SASE company, to a security operations company. And so we're seeing that TAM expand as we continue focusing on adding value to our customers.
All right, great. I'm going to bring my colleague Jannarone back into the mix here. Let's keep the conversation going.
All right, thanks, Jarrett. John, before we jump into it, tell us what's that behind you? That's a server, right? We were talking about this before we started.
Yes, we are building out our infrastructure around the world. We see delivering security solutions from the cloud as one of our primary strategic initiatives. And so we are absolutely investing for the long term in infrastructure. So you're right, this is a server room behind me, and we have data centers, servers, POPs, colo facilities around the world to be able to deliver those security solutions with real low latency to our customers around the world.
And by the way, for our viewers who want to see more of that, just check out the investor relations section of their website. There's a deck in there from their investor day, and it's got this great map showing all these locations around the globe. John, I want to go back to something you touched on there with AI. I like to ask folks in your field what AI really means to your business. Of course, today everyone's talking about the battle between Sam and Elon, but it seems to me that you've probably been using what's known as AI, maybe not calling it that directly for a long, long time. So tell us about how that works.
100%. So where we see AI in our field, one, it's the hackers, as I mentioned, are using AI to make their threats more sophisticated, more pervasive, and it's kind of helping, unfortunately, with that step function up in terms of the threat environment. From our side, we've been, like you said, we've been using AI for decades to help our customers in terms of making sense of the threat intelligence that they may get internally at their security operations center. A lot of times they're bombarded with information, and they may have the key to prevent a threat buried in a haystack of information. And so we leverage AI to make that information actionable, to sift out the wheat from the chaff, and make sure that customers can react really quickly to prevent threats as they're happening.
Great. And you were talking about all those patents you have, which far exceed the number that the other players in your sector have. Are a lot of those tied to AI as well?
100%. We have about 500 issued and pending AI patents, which is a multiple bigger than our competition's aggregate patent portfolio, AI and others. And so, we have been focused on this for, like you said, many, many years, for decades. And we see it as a real competitive advantage in that it really adds value to customers to allow them to prevent threats.
Great. And you were talking about how you're able to work with big enterprises, even governments. What about the smaller companies? I mean, I wonder to myself, if you're a small business owner, are you taking the threat of being hacked seriously enough? I mean, do hackers actually target these smaller businesses? Is there something for them to get there?
The small, you've identified one of the key vulnerabilities. A lot of small businesses may not take it as seriously as they should. A lot of them do take it seriously. If you talk to some of these cybersecurity public agencies, they'll say that they're very concerned in their countries about the small businesses not protecting themselves, because that can be the heartbeat of the economy. And so, we do see a lot of small businesses really taking steps to protect themselves with enterprise level security like we have, with large organization, sophisticated security like we have. So we do see a lot of small businesses taking steps to do that. But I think you're right. There are a lot of them out there who are not taking those steps, and they are very vulnerable.
And John, we were also talking quickly before about your background. So John has been with the business for 18 years. Prior to that, he was at a company called Corio as general counsel, was sold to IBM. The thing that really jumped out at me is you guys went public in 2009, which was a very tricky environment. Can you tell us about how things looked good enough to go for it? And by the way, if anyone looks at the stock price, it certainly has worked out. So just run us through that, because it's a fascinating story.
Yes, 2008, 2009, obviously from an economy standpoint, there was a lot of concern out there. And we, throughout that period, we were a private organization, and we were talking with our employees at all hands, and we were saying, we think security is a need to have, not a nice to have. So we think we'll weather this storm really well. And we were kind of crossing our fingers while we were saying that because we thought that was the case, but we weren't sure because the economy was so bleak. But if you look at the revenue and billings bar chart throughout that period, our revenue just kept going up based on that innovation focus that we have. And then ultimately, in early 2009, when no one else was thinking about going public, a lot of times we'll try to think outside the box. We started thinking about going public. And then by November 2009, we had a very successful IPO. And we just celebrated our 15th anniversary back at NASDAQ, which was a really, really fun event. We've had a great partnership with NASDAQ over the years.
That's great. I remember those days very well. I was sitting at the Wall Street Journal. There were not many IPOs coming across my desk during that period, John. Something else that you've been doing for that entire 15 years is returning cash to shareholders through buybacks, right? John, can you tell us a bit about how much you've done? And by the way, I'll point out, if you look at the balance sheet, $4 billion of cash and short-term investments, not much debt at all. So very, very healthy, also cash generative. Where is this cash going to go going forward? More buybacks, maybe a little bit of M&A?
We are a very well-run company, very disciplined company. We do generate a lot of cash. We've generated a lot of cash for a long time. We've consistently, even before our IPO, we did some buybacks as a private company, actually. And since our IPO, we've consistently engaged in buybacks. And I think the strategy going forward is to continue to focus on that. And it's not mutually exclusive, like you mentioned, with M&A. We focus primarily on organic development of our solutions, but there are areas where we decide, okay, there's a tech and talent tuck in here where speed to market is important. And so we don't see those as mutually exclusive. We can continue to focus on buybacks as it makes sense. We, along the way, since our IPO in 2009, we thought an investment in Fortinet has made a lot of sense, and actually it has. So that's consistent with our buyback approach. But we can also continue our measured M&A strategy as well.
Great. John, if I can ask just about one of the other slides that jumped out at me, it was showing the trends with secure versus digital networking, which I think is going to hit a tipping point next year, according to a third-party forecast you're showing. Can you tell us what's going on under there? Who are the latecomers to secure networking? How is that shaping up?
So in terms of who the early comers to security-driven networking, that's been our philosophy since we started in 2000 for the past 25 years. Has been a big part of our strategy, has been this convergence of security and networking. And we've been very focused on that. And credit to our founder and CEO, Ken Xie. He is absolutely the leader in that initiative. And along the way, people have doubted him, but he's been steadfast in that strategy. And it was funny, we have what we call our Accelerate Global Conference, where thousands of partners and customers come together. And Ken has been talking about that convergence, like I said, for 25 years, been a cornerstone of our strategy. And then more recently, with the movement to SD-WAN and SASE and this convergence, people have started to come around to his strategy. And so Ken got up in our Accelerate and said, I've been talking about this for 20 some years. It's good to hear other people start to talk about it as well. And I think that shows our leadership and kind of our steadfast approach to our strategy. There may be doubters along the way, but we stick to our knitting. We stick to our innovation focus. We stick to a very simple approach to just add value to customers, put the customers first. And so far, it seems to be working, and we're adding value. We're doing well while we're doing good in terms of protecting and securing our customers, which we view as a noble purpose to allow them to get on with their business without some unfair distraction. So I think, we have absolutely led in that security-driven networking strategy.
John, just wrapping up here, I guess we'll ask you what you're most excited here for the rest of the year.
I'm just excited. It's a super interesting industry we're in, cybersecurity. It's an area where you can add a lot of value if you focus on the right things. And I'm at a company that's focused on the right things. Innovating to protect customers and to add value to customers the right way, earning the customer trust by keeping our promises to protect and secure customers, being there for them when they need us, being that reliable partner. So I'm excited. I've been here 18 years, and I'm more pumped up for the next 5 years. I think the opportunity abounds to add value the right way to continue on with our noble purpose. So I'm really pumped up about it.
All right, fantastic. My thanks to John Whittle, the COO of Fortinet. This is Jarrett Banks and John Jannarone signing off. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.